Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a little preview of the last and final and sadly final stage of the 2019 Tour de France. Stage 21 into Paris, into Champs-Élysées in Paris. Looking at the profile, really not expecting much until we get to Paris itself, where sprinters will have the last chance to win the stage. There are many teams. There's 12 teams that still haven't won the race. So the circuit race, which is really not a circuit, it's kind of it's called almost like a race car racetrack shape, or shape of maybe an airstrip, but it's around the circuit, right? Um, so this is where probably the action will take place. The stage is 128 kilometers long, so it's kind of more of a procession. People are going to be drinking champagne. Definitely, Ineos is going to be enjoying another Tour de France win. Uh, uh, you know, there's actually hills early in the stage. I think they put that in because they expected the polka dot jersey to be close. And I'll probably talk about for my final thoughts tomorrow. For the final thoughts about the Tour de France, I'll probably talk about restructuring of the polka dot jersey because there's some people that are suggesting that it's actually too it should be really for the best climber. There's just too many opportunists that go out there and get the jersey. There's people that defend it, but we'll see. But tomorrow early on, we get into the climbs. We have two categorized climbs. We have one at 1.3%, 1.3 kilometers, 6.1%, and then we have another one at 900 meters at 4.9%. We also have two other uncategorized climbs, which is really interesting. So there's four hills in a row. We have Côte de Homé, 1.9, 4.5%, and then we have another one near Etoli. So, the first part of the stage up to about kilometer 57 is actually pretty rolling before we actually go into Paris. Now, the pace is going to be leisurely. The pace is going to be still a lot faster than the way I ride, right? My average is like 18 miles an hour. So they'll still be going at leisurely, like 22, 23 miles an hour. But the race really will start once they hit Paris. And the stage is late to avoid probably the heat and to just kind of make a nice Sunday for people to be out there. The stage, it's nice for TV coverage because stage and the presentation will take place at the magic hour, right in the background of Champs-Élysées and Arc de Triomphe. So very nice there. Once they enter Champs-Élysées, there's 8 laps of a circuit race, 6.8 kilometers each. Um, there is it's actually slightly up and down, and the finish is going to be actually super fast. The attacks are going to go the moment they're going to go on Champs-Élysées. The attacks are going to go. People are going to try. The reason why, there's still, like I said before, there's 12 teams that have no victory in a race. There's also issues with contracts now, right? We're getting to this kind of the contract window being open. So everybody wants to be out there showing off their skills for the new contract, especially riders from Katusha, because Katusha is going to fold, after after this year. So there's going to be a lot of riders, 25, 30 riders looking for work, 50 other people looking for work. So look out for Katusha to be one of the teams tomorrow to animate the race once it gets on, on the Champs-Élysées circuit, or more of a airstrip shaped race. So I'm expecting obviously French teams to be all over, right? It's been a relatively bad Tour de France for the French teams, right? Extremely exciting in terms of the French fans, and I think everyone was rooting for a French rider to finally win after all these years, and they really had a serious chance this year. Very serious chance with Thibaut Pinot and Julian Alaphilippe. But relatively for wins, it was kind of a bad Tour de France. So FDJ concentrated on obviously on the GC. Cofidis, the same thing, did not win yet. So expect teams like FDJ, Cofidis, Arkea, Dalmatian Data, Katusha, 1T, ED First, and of course the CCC team, which probably has the greatest chance of winning out of the break, right? Uh, you know how much I likely that is, right? Because the sprinter teams will ride, but these teams will definitely try to break things apart and break the whole myth of not winning out of the break, out of the Tour de France. So many riders already came close. I remember not long ago, Frankie Andrea actually, came close of winning this stage on the Tour de France. Not too long ago, also a Wanty guy. I think maybe it was last year or the year before. Somebody gets caught right 200 yards from the finish. So I think it was last year with Alexander Kristoff winning. So we'll see how this. There's definitely going to be tries. There's definitely going to be breakaways on Champs Elysees. However, I'm thinking that the sprinter teams will not want to pass that chance, their final chance, right? And I'm thinking that probably Yambo, and I'm also thinking that De Koenig, and also probably Lotto will take over probably about 10K, 15K from the finish and chase it all down within probably last 5K, right? Or maybe even 3K. Now, it's really interesting because the finish is a little tricky. Number one, the finish has cobblestones, right? Not the last part on the finish, but there's a lot of cobblestones around Champs-Élysées, okay? And number two, there's also a slight downhill from about 5 kilometers to about 1.7 kilometers. So that may play into advantage of a breakaway if there's a strong breakaway. So it's going to be super fast towards the finish, towards the last kilometer. It's going to be madness. Depending, of course, if there's a headwind, depending on if there is, the backwind or crosswind. We'll have to see how that plays out. But my favorite still would be the sprinter teams and the pure sprinters catching the last breakaway, definitely within 3 kilometers. Maybe there's a very strong survivor, like maybe Greg Van Avermaet, that gets caught between, or maybe Kalmajan, right? He's always out there, or our breakaway specialist, the record holder of Fredo from Wanty that keeps breaking out. So these guys may survive to about a kilometer left, but I think eventually it'll be sprinters out there. Who am I thinking about winning? It's going to be usual guys out there, right? It's going to be Alexander Kristoff for Katusha. Remember, Katusha is folding. He needs that stage win, right? Guys are going to be all over the place for Katusha, not only riding for the team, but riding for personal now to get a job next year. Dylan Groenewegen, right? The Panzerwagen, the German Panzerwagen, the latest out of the great line of German sprinters, right? I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because Caleb Ewan already has 2. He's beaten him several times already. So watch out for Groenewegen to have a good sprint. Obviously, Caleb Ewan. I think Viviani obviously is going to be there. The regular guys, Jesper Stuyven, Matteo Trentin, Peter Sagan is obviously going to be in the top 4 by my expectation. Bonifacio, Michael Matthews, so regular guys competing for sprint finish. Who is my favorite? I think it's definitely going to be between the three fastest: Elia Viviani, Caleb Ewan, and Grunewagen. Right? There's an issue with the cobblestones, so we'll just have to see how that technique works for Caleb Ewan. Right? Just being really upfront and going like this. We'll see if the back wheel kind of spins like it was spinning like during the last two sprints that he tried. I think in one of the sprints early on, when he still hasn't won the stage on the tour, he had a problem with that. So we'll just have to see how this issue affects him in a sprint where there's a lot of cobblestone before the finish. So I think it's between Viviani, I think it's between Ewan, and I think it's between Grunewagen, right? We'll have to see. Normally, I would say that the early hills would have some kind of effect, but it's the last stage of the tour. Leisurely pace, very leisurely, right? People are going to be toasting champagne and everything else, having fun. So that's not going to have a lot of effect. I think when it comes to that, it's definitely going to be three sprinters: Viviani, Ewan, Grunewagen. It's going to be up to who gets the right wheel and who sees the clearing and goes at the right time. Um, it seems to me like De Koenig and Jumbo have the best leadouts. Okay, better than Lotto, but we'll just have to see. I mean, Sunweb has a good leadout too, but Matthews I don't think can compete with the top three fastest guys in the tour. Remember, Cease Ball is already gone, right? He crashed together with Fuslan. He's gone out of the tour. So the sprinter duties fall back on Matthews. I'm going to say, right? I'm going to say that if Caleb Ewan wins tomorrow, then clearly he is the best sprinter probably in the entire peloton. Right? Definitely in the Tour de France, but definitely in the entire peloton. So he has graduated to that upper echelon of the tour guys, right? 3-stage tours, 3-stage wins, that's a big deal, and that's probably big paycheck too. But I'm going to say tomorrow Grunewagen is going to take it. So my 100% pick for tomorrow is Dylan Grunewagen. I think he has a little bit of a chip over, on his shoulder. I think he still thinks he's the fastest in the Tour de France peloton. So watch for him to really turn that speed. And, they're very close, right? Viviani, Ewan, and Grunewagen. And it's really about how you position yourself in, at the sprint. And it's just, it's super dangerous. You really need to pick the right opportunities. When it comes to that, when it comes to the pure speed, I think Grunewagen has a little bit of an edge over the other two. But pure speed is by any means not the only thing, not the only most important, the most defining, issue in a sprint. The most important also is positioning. And I think Grunewagen this year has had issues with positioning. He crashed early on. He wasn't competitive. Then he kind of came to his own a little bit by winning the stage. Then he again was surprisingly beat by kind of losing the position around there. I think this time Grunewagen puts up a challenge against Caleb Ewan's domination and wins this stage. Okay, Grunewagen is my pick. Many of you will disagree with me, but it will be interesting to hear what you think about the sprint finish. Okay, this is my final Tour de France preview, right, for the last stage, sadly, of the 2019 Tour de France. Stay tuned for my recap tomorrow, and stay tuned for my previews of other World Tour races. Coming up next weekend is Classica La San Sebastian. Tour de Pologne starts. Very important race for the preparation for the Vuelta, right? And by the way, I'm going to be doing the daily stage previews for the Vuelta as well, because I think it's going to be a fascinating race. And of course, the Classic in London takes place next Sunday, I believe, as well. All three World Tour races. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Leave me a comment, leave me your predictions for tomorrow. Who's going to take it? Whether you agree with me or not, whether you think Caleb Ewan kind of solidifies his place as the top dog of the sprint stages in the Tour de France or even in the world right now. Yeah, I actually did forget one thing. I'm just really hoping that the Gorilla will actually finally be competitive in the Tour de France sprint, right? Andrew Grippo, a legend in cycling, creator of many unforgettable sprint finishes in the Tour. So I'm hoping that he's going to get top 5 tomorrow. I'm really hoping that he's going to get top 10, being more realistic, but let's see if he can get top 5. Anyway, Andrew Grippo, I hope you're getting at least a top 10 tomorrow. You're breaking top 10. All right, guys. Thank you very much again. If you like the video, hit like. If you're interested in cycling and you want to see more, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. We're going to preview the first 2 stages of the 2020 Tour de France coming up. We already know the details, right? We're going to be doing shows for, we're going to be doing a live thing for the presentations of the Giro d'Italia road, a live feed for the presentations of the full Tour de France road. And of course, we're going to be doing the fall classics, the Vuelta a España, the World Championships, so a lot more coming up. All right, thanks again, guys, and enjoy tomorrow, and please go out there for a ride. I'm hitting the road. I'm hitting my 30 miles. Hopefully I'll feel better than I did yesterday. I really, really suffered yesterday, really bad. I don't know what got into me, but I just had an off day, and it wasn't good. Anyway, thanks, guys. Take care.